We made it! We are finally here! Planet Zoo is out. Well, the beta anyways. So we're going to be playing a scenario and maybe get into the franchise. Once the actual game comes out, we'll be playing sandbox mode, creating our own zoo from scratch. But for right now, the beta is not going to carry over to the full release of the game. So we're just going to play around, we're going to get used to the mechanics, we're going to look at some cute animals, and yeah, let's just dive right in. This is the only scenario that we have available for the beta, so let's just jump right into it. Alright, here we go.
Ah, heyo at Hematu. Yeah, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then,
Oh my gosh,
only
look at
when
the
I track
lemurs
elephant
climbing.
dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry though, I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire, less shouting that way.
So this is the first
Hello
time.
there.
Oh,
From that
okay, hold
rosy,
on.
fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Alright, so yeah, this is the first time in a Planet series game that
Did
we
you
actually
know
have people
grizzly
that talk.
bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year. Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel. This is where you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
Oh yeah, this is what I wanted.
See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also
Wow.
get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready,
Look at the
let's pop over
fur.
to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
Okay. Gotta go find the lions. This is a beautiful park.
Panthera leo leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride.
Oh my gosh,
although
it's
prides of that size are
beautiful.
pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why
Oh,
I
he's
handle the
swimming.
training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our Warthog Habitat and see what needs doing there.
Oh my gosh. Is that a cub? Oh, it is a cub. Oh, it's only half a year old. the main. Ah, okay, he's gonna lay down? Nope. Maybe. No. This is amazing. It's a one-way glass so that the animal can't see the people inside, but you can see them. Alright, gotta find the warthogs. Okay.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. The warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section. There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Buy from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants. When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Okay. So do I drag them? Nope. Ah, sent to zoo.
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Okay. If I can find it. Ah, here we go.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals
gosh.
to their destination as fast as possible.
Can I
Of
click
course,
on it?
normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat.
Oh,
But
you're
I am
moving too
assured
fast.
by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy.
That's pretty
You see,
impressive,
each animal in the
carrying
zoo
a
has an
broom
overall
and that
welfare
box.
statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see
Look at him
how they're
running, he
doing.
loves
That
it.
way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
Okay. Nutrition,
Let's
not so
start
good.
by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station, and for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Food trough. Small. Okay, where do we want to place this? Maybe here. Okay. And a water station. Does it make sense to put food and water beside of each other, or should I separate it? I don't really know. Put it over here.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Okay. Oh man, that thing's huge. Okay, yeah, let's put it here. Can I rotate this? Oh yeah, I can. but it's not going to let me place it there. Place it right here.
Oh, nice work. You've got a knack for this, I see. Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a pharaoh state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the Ostrich Habitat. It's over near the hippos.
So even though I put down the food and the water, their nutrition is still 13%. Why? There's no food in there. Okay. Hopefully someone's gonna come and fill that up. And how about the water? It's also empty. Oh, okay, here we go, here we go. Okay, don't just stand there. Okay, thank you. Oh, people are watching. Oh, and they left. Okay. Nice. No, go over to the food. Someone come right here. Turn around, come in here. Okay, and then he left. Okay, whatever. I give up. Okay, find the highlighted area here.
Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just
Oh,
make
gosh.
sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Okay. Whoa, what happened? Okay, there we go. So, barriers. Habitat gate. And why is it obstructed? I'm confused. Ah, there we go.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Okay. Oh, that's not where I clicked. But it's okay. Let's see. Come out here just a little bit further. How do I shorten this? Ah, here we go. Okay. Straight. There we go. This music playing in the background is so soothing.
Good work! Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier, so the guests can see in.
Okay. How about this one? Yes. Wait, what?
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
Okay, okay. Put it right here on the corner.
All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
Animal trading. Oh.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Okay. How do I know what their diet is? Or which feeding system or water system would be best for them? Hungry and thirsty. Nutrition. Interesting. It shows you what terrain they like. Alright, let's just throw down a food bowl. And place this down right here in between these rocks. Hey, bronze.
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven
That's pretty
forbid they
fast.
ever escape. The speed camera finds alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to
this
make
is
sure
why
the
they
keepers
didn't
don't
have
waste
food
their
in the
time
Warthog
walking when they should be
area.
looking after the animals.
Okay. Keeper hut. Does it really matter which one? And does it tell me where to place it? Or do I decide? This looks like a decent little area, maybe. Not gonna let me. Okay. Is this any
You'll
smaller?
need to rotate the keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
Okay. Yeah, maybe here. Oh, okay, it is. Ah, right there it is.
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power, and that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
This is
Now,
very
the reason
interesting
everything has
that
gone
we have
blue
to actually
is
think
because
about
you're using the
power
power
and
heat
water
map.
now.
This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off. Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
I thought this would be a place to put animals here.
Righty, your next job is to build a habitat. From scratch. And wood and concrete, I expect. So go ahead and build it. And don't forget the habitat gate. It's always best to place the habitat gate close to the keeper hut. As it happens, there's one quite near to the trade center.
Perfect.
Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
Okay. Let's start right here at the corner. We'll do the entire thing in concrete first, and then we'll replace one of them with glass. Okay, shrink that in a little bit. There we go. Make this a straight edge. This new way of placing fences is much better than the Planet Coaster way. It took so much time. This is much faster, and you have many more options. Alright, so let's replace a few of these with glass. Maybe this one. And then maybe one of the, no, that's a, oh, guests can't even walk here. This is only employees. So how about here? Okay. I need to add the habitat gate. Let's make it back here.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier. Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode.
Perfect.
Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking
that's
and dragging
amazing.
the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a minimum height of 4 meters.
We'll just put it right at 4 meters.
Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate's in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
You don't have to tell me twice. These are gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna be spending a lot of time in this game just admiring the animals that they've created.
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Okay. Habitat. Okay, I need this thing to move out of my way. Okay, you want the guests to see them eating. So maybe here.
This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need
Oh,
a
we're
pool
gonna
in their
add
habitat
water.
so they can go for
Okay.
a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool.
Paint. Interesting. Okay, there's the water level.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Okay, get this thing out of my way. Blood pumpkin, a rubbing pad. Yes. Let's put this over here so the guests can see it. Right here. And do this one over here.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the
Oh
bad
my
weather.
gosh.
Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
I say let's build our own. Alright. Let's just take a look at what they already have. I don't like it. Not at all. Alright, so let's put it somewhere like right here. We can kind of curve it against this wall so that people here can see it and people even across the way can see it. So let's start with maybe the bedding. Nope. Okay. Construction. Okay, they don't give me a lot to start out with. This is the only thing they give me, is this? Really? Okay, well I guess we are gonna use the blueprint. There's not really much else that I can do right now. Okay. Turn this around.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel. Rightio. Click on the terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat.
Okay, they need soil.
Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them
Oh
some
man,
more
that
soil.
thing's huge.
Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
Okay, still need more soil and less of this tall grass.
Right then. All animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, Eurasia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab.
Okay, this episode is running pretty long, so I think I'm going to cut it here. And I'm going to keep recording. This is my day off. I'm going to keep playing this game all day. We're probably going to finish this scenario, and then we'll probably jump into franchise mode. And I'm just going to record multiple episodes. So I didn't talk much, because I just want to admire the beauty of this game and just keep my full attention on the game, and hopefully your attention is focused on the animals that they've created and the habitats. And I just love the fact that this game is all about the animal welfare, making sure that they can't see the guests, that they are in their own little world, making sure that they have proper food, water, shelter, even the terrain here showing exactly what each animal needs. When we get to animals that have to climb, you can create climbing structures for them. If they have a water preference, all of that stuff is going to be listed here, and the game is all about making sure that the animals are happy. So, hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.